Tribe, excuse me. This is In Contempt Season 1, Episode 5. And I am so sorry that this is a late review because this is last week's review. And I watched last week's episode. I took notes on last week's episode. I just forgot to do the daggone video. I think with everything going on with my voice going out, and when I finally got my voice back, I was trying to get everything in. Then I went out of town. It just got caught in the shuffle. So I apologize, y'all. But let's jump into it because I'm going to go ahead and drop. I just watched the last episode and I'm heated about the episode that came on last night. So let me go ahead and get through this review because the next one, honey, they done pissed me all the way off. Okay, so let's get back to this. All right, where my notes at? This episode, you know, there's always an episode of the week. So, a case of the week. So the case of the week is a child abuse case. We pick up this episode where the last episode left off with Charlie being arrested. And I neglected to put that in the review. I don't know why, because it was a big thing. He just happened to be, he went out back. They were at the bar drinking and celebrating. He went out back. He saw a nice shiny sports car. He looked at it and he was looking inside the car, admiring the car. Police roll up, accuse him of stealing the car, and they knew that motherfucker wasn't trying to steal the car. They were just being assholes. That's what they were being. This motherfucker was in a damn suit with a briefcase. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew good and damn well he wasn't trying to steal that car. And even if you really legitimately had a thought that he was trying to steal the car, you didn't see anything that warranted you arresting him. I mean, he was looking in the car. So I didn't know you could get arrested for looking in somebody else's car. And if you can't, drop it in the comments and let me know. Because damn, that's some bullshit. So the episode picks up with them leaving, the ladies leaving the bar, kind of like, where'd Charlie go? That's not like him. You know, we know he don't like to pay, but for him to just leave us hanging like that. And they're kind of talking about dating apps. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. They're talking about dating apps and some of the code words that people use, racist things that are out there on dating apps. I don't use dating apps, so I wasn't real familiar with these codes myself. I was like, what the fuck? I have in the past used dating apps. I'm just not currently using any. And I certainly weren't using the ones that they were talking about. But anyway, so the case of the week is Tracy's case. Gwen is supposed to be sitting in second chair. It's a child abuse case. My girl, whose name of course just escaped me, but that's my girl. She's the loudmouth from the loudmouth from the Tyler Perry movie with Janet Jackson. Not Janet Jackson. Was it Janet Jackson? Jill Scott? Oh, damn it. No, I can't remember, y'all. Yeah. No. Shit. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. She's Cookie's sister on Empire. Y'all know Tasha Smith. Thank you. Woo. Anyway, she plays the mother. So here's what happened. Her son, she plays the mother. She's not a single parent, but her husband is overseas in Afghanistan. She's taking care of the son. The son stole her car, went on a joyride, and ended up crashing the car. When she caught up to him, she lost it. She beat his ass, right? She beat his ass. And of course, in the day and age where we live, it got on tape. And what happened was that made it worse. So he had whelps and stuff on him because she beat him with a belt. I've been beat with a belt a few times, so I know that feeling. And what happened was he tried to pull away from her to get away. And in the process, he fell and broke his arm. So she's being charged with child abuse. She's lost custody of her son. Her sister has custody. And Tracy was trying to get her to plead out. You know, basically Tracy was like, look, it wasn't done with malice, but you did kind of go a little too far. Gwen's thing was, y'all know Gwen. Gwen was like, we can win. If we just come at it from this angle and argue this and get the right jury, you know, I don't think it's fair for you to have to go to jail for disciplining your son. Like, you can win this case. So Tracy is pissed off immediately, like, what are you doing? Like, it's my case. I didn't ask you. I thought we were on the same page, that we were going to try to get her to take the plea. I think immediately Gwen in her mind decides that Tracy doesn't understand because Tracy's not black. And Tracy probably wasn't beaten as a child and doesn't understand black discipline. And I think that's, unfortunately, she takes that and runs with it the rest of the case. That Tracy just can't possibly argue this case because she don't get it. Which turns out to not be the case at all. Well, then the supervisor comes in and he says, "Look, I need to see everybody in the courtroom immediately. Let's go." Charlie is being arraigned. They done strip searched this man. They done kept him overnight, wouldn't let him come. And he told them, "I'm a lawyer. You can't do this. This is illegal." Well, and the police officer, "Well, you my bitch now, and you shouldn't have mouthed off to me." You know that old fuck shit. And I know it's not all cops, but the sad thing is that myself and everybody I know has had an experience with this cop. You know what I'm saying? Has had that experience with this motherfucker. So, no, it's not all cops. I have friends who are cops. I got family members who are in law enforcement. I'm not putting it on everybody, but everybody I know has had an experience with that motherfucker. And I'm mad, so let me calm down. Okay. So, they go to his arraignment, and the supervisor got all of them, all of the lawyers are in the courtroom, and when his case is called, they all stand up like in solidarity with him. It was legit. Like it was that's what needed to happen. And the judge was even like, "What idiot did this?" Like when they heard his name, when the bailiff called his name, the bailiff was like, "Char, what?" Like, and the judge saw who it was, and the judge was like, "What the fuck?" And then the DA gonna look all embarrassed, talking about some. Well, we moved to drop the charges. The judge is like, "Yeah, I think you should," And they drop the charges, and he goes, and the supervisor says to him, "Look, I want you to take a couple of days off. Do what you got to do," because again, he understands that this is something that needs to be processed and decompressed. So that's Charlie, and we're gonna, we'll deal with the Charlie situation. Actually, I'll go ahead and finish the Charlie, not finish it up, but Charlie, of course, he deals with what most, especially black men, would deal with. He goes home, he takes a shower, he processes. You see him looking at his graduation picture with his mom, and you can really almost hear everything that he's thinking in his head. Like, he doesn't say a word through this whole scene, but you get it. You know what this man is thinking. He's looking at this graduation picture like, damn, I did all of this to go to college, to go to law school, to be an upstanding citizen, and I'm just another nigga. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I saw when I saw that scene. And he ends up going to play basketball with his boys. And they doing what guys do. They ripping him, they talking about, talking about you work for the man and you don't get it. You ain't the hood no more. And it's probably shit that they say to each other every Saturday morning when they get together to play basketball. But one of them called him a bitch. What'd he do that for? I'm sorry, not Bennett. Charlie loses it. And he's like, "I ain't your bitch. I ain't this, I ain't that." And he, walks off from him and everything. And he ends up, when they get done playing basketball, he ends up apologizing and telling them, because they knew what happened. So they gave him a pass. They were just kind of like, all right. And they told him, they was like, "Yo, we get it." You know what I mean? Like, we understand, we get it. That's that bullshit. We've all dealt with it. And then they proceed to have the conversation that Bennett sort of had with himself about, what's it all for? I'm still just another nigga. I'm out here busting my ass. And, and the guys are like, we all been there. We all done had to kiss the pavement. Like, and it's a sad scene, but it's a real scene to see these 4 or 5 men of color all talking about how they've had this same experience. No matter what you do in your life, no matter what you've accomplished, there are some people that's all they fucking see. So we'll come back to Charlie, but that's kind of where Charlie's storyline went in this episode. But we'll come back to him because the end with him and Gwen sort of gets a little deep. So back to the case of the week. So Gwen is supposed to be sitting second chair. So they go into court, and the judge happens to be, y'all remember the case she had in the first episode, I think it was. I think it was the first episode, where she pissed the judge off to the point where the judge found her in contempt and she had to apologize, and the judge was like, you're hot-headed, you don't know when to stop. Like, the judge really has a problem with Gwen. It's that judge. Judge Blackburn, I believe is her name. White woman. And Gwen starts pushing her buttons from day one. First, Gwen wants to get her recused. Tracy is like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. She holds a grudge. It's not worth it. I don't think that's what we should do. They go into court. They get the jury they try to get, the jury they want is black women, basically. They want people who they think know what it's like to beat a child or have to discipline a child or have been disciplined. They don't want the PTA timeout mom, right? Because the PTA timeout mom don't get it in their mind. So Gwen steps on Tracy's toes about a couple of objections and some things like that, because Gwen has made up in her mind that Tracy don't get it, that Tracy doesn't understand the raising a black man in the hood mentality. So she really has underestimated Tracy's abilities to be able to defend this case. She really thinks she has to do it herself, and she really is taking over. And they go back, they're in the office, Tracy's pissed off, and Gwen is like, look, I found these things that she said online in a chat room, and we need to get her recused because she had made some statements about, the person who had made these statements were against corporal punishment. Gwen assumes that it's the judge. She has no definitive proof that it's the judge, and it's probably the judge, but it's in a chat room, so it's under a chat name. It's not under her name. And the supervisor tells her, don't do it. He said she holds a grudge. It's not worth it. Don't get her recused. Just deal with it. You just got to roll with the punches on this one. So they go back to court, and Gwen stands up and is like, Judge, we want you recused. And Tracy is sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And so they actually go forth and push forward and get her recused off the case. And they get a black judge, which of course now Gwen think, whew, we home, we selling, we good for this, right? Well, we'll get to that part. So they have the black judge. So they had to come up with a defense because the doctor that saw her son in the ER, her testimony actually was pretty damning, where she was talking about how bad the injuries were, and just how overboard the mom went, and how there's really no excuse for this. No matter what he did, there was no purpose for this, and how badly the injuries were mentally and physically. And she had actually made some traction, because I know if I'd been on the jury, I kind of was like, okay, I hate what you're saying. So Gwen actually comes up with a really good idea. The son went on a joyride, and actually as he was going down the street, he hit parked cars, he hit a mailbox, he ran over a tricycle. So Gwen decides to have a show and tell, so to speak. So she has a bent up tricycle and the remnants of the mailbox and all that other stuff to show the carnage versus just looking at pictures. And I think it was pretty impactful because, again, if I'm a parent, or if I'm sorry, not just a parent, if I'm on the jury, I'm gonna kind of look at it again and be like, you know what? Maybe he deserved that ass whooping. Because look, what if it was a kid on that tricycle? What if it was somebody putting mail in that mailbox? Like, maybe he deserved that thing. So I'm trying to go in order. Let me look at my notes. I was trying to remember, y'all, but let me look at my notes. Because I don't want to go out of order. The prosecutor actually got the tape in, so we get to see the tape of her beating his ass. So the tape visual of her beating his ass versus the carnage, it's sort of played. I think it's sort of offset. Again, if I'm on the jury, I'm back and forth, because I'm all for corporal punishment. I'm all for beating your kids. But again, there is a line that you cross between spanking, disciplining, and abuse. There is a line there. And so that would be my question if I were on the jury. And like I said, the doctor, I felt like, did a really good job of showing that this wasn't just discipline or a spanking. She abused her son. I know as a mandatory reporter, if I had seen those bruises on one of my students, I would have to call social services because that I'm a mandatory reporter and that's what I have to do. And I've actually had to call social services in the past, and it's not fun. It is not a fun situation. It's not a fun experience. But anyway, so like I said, I'm trying to go in order. All right, let's talk about the rookie for a second, and then we'll come back to the rest of the case. So the rookie is struggling, y'all. She's on her own. I don't know why they done unleashed her, but they done unleashed her, and she's trying. She is really trying. She has a case over a dog walking ticket, which that's some dumb shit. Anyway, long story short, she's trying to get her her client out of jail because he's saying I'm gonna lose my job, and it was mixed up at the jail where they didn't bring him down, and the judge was like, well, if he's not here, there's nothing I could do about it, and she bat her eyelashes, and the judge agreed to help her out, but then, like I said, they couldn't find him, and it was just a mess to the point where she pulled a Gwen, and she went back up in there and found her client and got her client released. Unfortunately, he had already lost his job because this had gone on for beyond the time that he was able to keep his job intact. And but I think it showed that she's starting to get the hang of it, and she's starting to care about these people. Because remember, when she first got there, she didn't even want to sit down. You know what I mean? She was just like, these people are so dirty and nasty, and all of them are guilty, and they're horrible people. So I think the purpose of that was just to show her progression, that she would go that hard for one of her clients to really try to help him out. All right, so let's get back to the case. Let's wrap this case up. So what we find out, Gwen does something in the courtroom again where here's the crux of the case. So they decide that their argument is going to be that basically black mothers have to discipline black boys more because of what they'll deal with in society, and because of that they have to just know how to act. And the judge, remember they got a black judge. The black judge was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She was like, I'm not going to allow you to argue that. And they were like, but Your Honor, we're just trying to show that his mom has to be harder on him because he is a black man and because of the obstacles that are in front of him. The mother was explaining the school that he goes to and the amount of deaths and in their neighborhood and the crime and all of that other stuff. And the judge was making a valid point. The judge was like, yeah, but what I'm not going to let you do is argue that black men need to be beat more than other people in order for them to act right. And they were like, well, that's not what we're saying. She was like, yeah, but that's what the jury's going to hear, because that's what I'm hearing. And so, no, I'm not going to allow that. And when she said that, I was like, you know what, that's valid. That's valid, because the last thing we need is for people out here arguing that in order for black men to act right, they got to be beat more. But I know that's not what they were saying. What they were saying is that black men need to understand, at least what I felt like they were arguing, is that black boys need to understand that the spotlight is going to be that much more on them, and they really don't get a whole lot of second chances. They're not going to walk into a courtroom like that young man who on the swim team who raped that girl and he got community service or whatever. Like, you're not going to get that, boo. You're not. As a little black boy, you're not getting community service for rape. You're getting 30. You're going to be there for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the point they were arguing. I don't think they were arguing that black boys got to be beat more. But she was right. That is potentially the slippery slope that they could hear. So they wouldn't let them argue it. So they tried to flip it. And when that got shut down, Tracy is really pissed off, because Tracy is like, we got nothing. Like, I didn't want to take this court to trial anyway for this exact reason. I didn't want to recuse the judge. Like, everything you has not worked out for us, and now we're stuck with a loser. And this woman is getting ready to go to jail and lose custody of her son because you wouldn't listen to me. So Tracy and Gwen end up having this like blow up or whatever. And what we find out is that Tracy was abused as a child. That her father not spanked her, but beat her. And like she was saying, she said, I still got the scars to prove it. Like, no, I wasn't spanked. I was beat. And there is a difference. I think that Gwen had an aha moment because everybody has a story, but you can't assume somebody's story because of who they are. Because Tracy was like, don't throw white, because Gwen tried to throw some white privilege. She was like, don't throw white privilege at me because you don't know my story. So they sort of had an aha moment and were able to kind of come together. Unfortunately, though, their client was found guilty. She ended up having to go to jail for 18 months and lost custody of her son. That's a rough one. And unfortunately, you just can't win everything, obviously. You can't win every case. And that was a hard... I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, my goodness. That was a hard case. But in the interim, though, we ain't done. In the interim, her supervisor reams her out because he was like, I told you not to get that judge recused. So now you done lost the case and you done pissed off the judge. So what was the purpose of it? And, Gwen is trying to explain herself and he was like, nope, 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 nope. Take all your vacation. I don't want to see you. He was like, because I'm about to suspend you. So take this gift that I'm giving you. Take your vacation days. Roll out for a minute. Because I need a minute because I'm pissed off right now. And so, of course, Gwen is sitting there looking dejected. Because in Gwen's mind, everything she does is justified. Everything she does is justified. And in the next episode, we're going to really get deeper into that. Because, anyway, we'll get there. I ain't going to cross this. So... then, of course, we have the storyline between her and her father. Her father has this big gala coming up. She's still pissed off at her dad because her dad won't let the son come and live with her and live with him when he gets out of jail. And so they have this big, they weren't really speaking. And he's have this gala coming up. And he's like, I hope you'll come to my gala. And Gwen like, I ain't coming. So at the end of the episode, we see... is that the next to the last episode? Anyway. Rookie and Tracy are at the gala. Gwen's not there. They run into her dad, and he's like, where's my daughter? And she's like, he ain't gonna come, And he was like, okay. Only time my daughter avoids me, he said, my daughter's been avoiding me, and she avoids me when she's angry with me or if she needs money. He was like, so how y'all doing with money? And Tracy sort of hesitates a little bit, but she's like, we're fine. But, of course, the way she said it let him know we ain't really fine. So Tracy goes to the bathroom, and while she's in the bathroom fixing her makeup, this older white woman walks up to her, and I knew who it was. As soon as they showed that woman, I knew who that woman was. I said, that is the judge's wife that she's sleeping with. What I didn't know was that the wife knew. So the wife rolls up to her and hits her with the, so how you doing tonight? Tracy was like, I'm fine, how are you? She was like, you don't know who I am, do you? And Tracy was like, no, mm-mm. And she said, I'm Mrs. Dotson. And Tracy played it cool, but Tracy was like, oh, Judge Dotson's wife, nice to meet you. She said, oh, damn, I forgot what she said. But what she said was, this is the part that she said. She said, I just want you to know you're not the first and you're not going to be the last. But I need you to understand, he always comes home. I said, bitch, you better let that bitch know. You better put her in her place and let her know. She said, he always comes home. She said, and frankly, he's done better. Oh, what she say that for? What she say that for? That thing laid me out, y'all. She said, and frankly, he has done better. Well, Tracy walks off, the wife walks off, and guess who come up out the stall and heard the whole thing? Rookie. Rookie done heard it. So, that's where that ends. Oh, just a little tidbit I observed, y'all, just to rewind a little bit. When Bennett, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call that man Bennett. When Charlie is talking to his boys after they played basketball, they sitting on the park bench and they just kind of talking. And they get past the heavy stuff. So then one of the guys like, you know what we could use right now? Charlie's like, a slice from so-and-so. I guess some little spot they go to. And these fools get up and start running through the park. And I'm thinking to myself, after y'all just got finished having that damn conversation about the police pulling y'all over for no reason and jacking y'all up, y'all gonna be 4 black men running through Harlem with duffel bags. Y'all thought that was a good idea? I was waiting for the police to pull them over again. But anyway, it didn't. It just made me think that probably wasn't the best way to end that scene, but okay. So last but not least, we see that Gwen is working out her frustration. You know, Gwen likes to box. So she worked out her frustration boxing or whatever. She goes home. She sees that her dad done mailed her a check. But her dad didn't mail it to her. She mailed it to the roommate. He mailed it to the roommate. So that's kind of fucked up. Make you feel like a little girl for real, for real. And Charlie comes to the door. And they have a moment. They have a really good moment where Charlie basically is just breaking down, you know, like, what do we have to do? What do we have to do to be seen as men? What do I have to do to be a man in this world? You know, and it was good. I mean, and Gwen played her position because she didn't say nothing. She didn't interject. She just let that man talk. She just let him get it off his chest. Because, you know what, that's what they need. They don't need us to talk. For as much as I like to talk, they don't always need us to talk. My mother always tells me, you got to let a man be a man. And in that moment, Gwen was letting him be a man. Because the police had taken that from him. So the last thing he needed was for her to interject. Or for her to be like, well, you know what I think you need to do? You need to sue. Or da-da-da. Like, he didn't need all of that. All he needed was for her to listen. And she did. She did. So that was a good episode, right? Because I'm about to go in on this next one. Y'all let me know what y'all think in them comments.